Call the meeting to order. Ordering and approval of agenda. Amy, we have, okay, first, Faith, you wanted to move
We move,
8.3.1,
Tasha up to 3.1, food service.
okay? Is that okay with you, Tasha? As long as you're fine with it. All right. And then 4.8, it's an addition to consent agenda,
I do.
okay? And 5.1, personnel report,
Yes.
okay? Anything else?
No, I don't.
Nothing, other than Michelle's leaving early? Did we say that out loud? Did we put a time on that?
Are you leaving early too?
I'll stick it out.
Okay.
I'll take one for the team. Motion to approve is amended.
Motion, you want to second that before you run out of time?
Yes.
All in favor? Thanks for being a good sport, Michelle. Okay, all right, that brings us to 3.0. We need to welcome our two new board members. We have Miss Amy Huizinga and Jane Sowers.
Welcome. Very
Welcome.
excited you're both here. Did you get your sweatshirts?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you try and make sure they fit. Let me know. Got a little swag there.
We have Amy, Jamie, and Amy.
Not confusing at all.
They did this the rest of
Would
us.
you rather Amy and Amy sit beside each other? Because we're both AH also.
yeah.
That's probably a good idea.
Okay.
That's probably good you
All
put it
right,
over
well,
here.
we're glad to have you, so, appreciate it. Tasha, you're up.
I just wanted to give you guys an update about food service. Probably over the last 6 months, I've just been looking into what our costs look like with OPA, without OPA, how our participation's been going, and what it would look like if we were to take over and have food service as ourselves, self-operation. Up here, these are just costs from what is kept in CanClaim, which is the state tracking system. And it looks like a whole bunch of crazy numbers, but starting there in 2013-14 is when we started with OPA. And as you can see, our end of the year balance has constantly stayed positive since we started with them. Prior to that, there was a couple times that food service has went negative, and we've had to transfer money in from the general fund to cover those expenses. Also, like our food and materials have gone up, which is normal because they would have gone up whether we were with OPA or if we were self-op. Our district employees' costs have gone down because with OPA, we're allowed to do a transitional fee with them. They charge us like close to like 8 cents on the dollar to transition employees when we have somebody retire. So that's why our employee cost has gone down. We did have a couple kitchen managers this past year that were district employees, and one left to be on the custodial staff at the high school. So that's that little fluctuation in district employees. So our transition fee for our 3 employees for this school year runs about $2,500 a month. And that's for 3 employees. If we were to take over our employees, we'll just say, let's use 3 as the number, it would cost about $6,800 just for pay, benefits, things like that. So the cost of employment is pretty much cheaper to stay with OPA because after the employees transition for a year, that transition fee goes away. So as long as nobody else retires, and we only keep OPA employees, they don't add that additional fee to the cost per meal. We can, I think, the next slide. So I just put a couple slides up here about menu planning, because I know there's been some complaints about the quality of food, the quantity of food. There are so many things that have to be met by the state guideline when it comes to production and menu planning. So, like some of the crazy things, like you have to have certain amount of green vegetables, dark green vegetables, not just green. So they make all these little subgroups that you have to follow. And no matter what, it has to be included in our menu when it's made up. It has to meet that weekly requirement. So I know kids are like, well, I don't like all this stuff. It's really because we're participating in a federal government program, and we have to meet the standards to be reimbursed for our meals. So I put these up here so if you guys wanted to take a look and see kind of what things are required. The next slide has the meal pattern, which has to be met. And these are what the state requires us to meet daily. And some kids are like, oh, I'm not getting enough to eat, but we have all these things available to them. I don't know, it's kind of hard to find that favorite food, favorite item, because also everything is limited by sugar, salt, and the state's requirements, USDA's requirements are still making us decrease those standards. So the intake of sodium, which is not just salt that you sprinkle, like anything that's prepared ahead of time or frozen, like all those things are taken into calculation. So whether we stay with OPA or if we decide to do self-op, we have to follow those guidelines. And the state will come in and audit every year, and they look down to like every last ingredient. They'll take your like when you purchase items, when you receive your stock, they'll say, oh, you purchased 5 sausage patties, but it says that you served 10. How can that be claimed as reimbursable? So they look deep into all the records. So everything has a requirement that has to be met, and there's really no way to fudge on that. So those are just some things to think about for self-op. We did just have a procurement review. It ended just this last month. It took, we started in April, but the procurement review went really well. They thought we were doing the things we should to keep track of purchasing through food service funds. They just asked that we kept better track when we were purchasing non-food items. So, nothing too technical. We didn't have to pay anything back. And then the next thing I would like to talk about is the CEP, that community eligibility provision, which is really kind of difficult. I know a lot of people were saying,
Free lunch for
free
everybody.
lunch, yeah. We qualified and our district did not accept it, and I can see that we should be getting free meals. We could, but we have to fall into this like 62.5% to meet complete free and be reimbursed for our meals. So if we hit anywhere underneath that, the district has to cover the rest of the expenses for the meals. So this just shows you how they figure that number. It's not necessarily just all students who are free and reduced. It's students that are directly certified from the state that qualify for free and reduced. So even though our number is pretty high, as a whole, we don't meet that state qualified number like they want us to. And the only ways to do that is for people to be on food assistance, Medicaid, Medicare, like, any of the state programs. That's what qualifies those students into that community eligibility provision of free meals district-wide. The next slide, I just kind of wanted to let you guys see how these numbers break down. The bottom numbers, that's just me doing my math, so you don't really want to pay attention to those. So this is the enrollment. This was the beginning of November. This is where our numbers sat. The amount of free students as a whole, like free income-based and free directly certified, reduced, full pay. Then that ISP is that number that the state wants to see us at 62.5% to be kind of like free and clear for free meals without having to take anything from general fund to supplement the food service fund. And so we don't necessarily reach that amount. So the next two slides have an idea of what it would look like if we were to go to CEP. This is if we have no increase in participation from our students eating meals, if we have the exact same numbers from last year as we do this year. If you scroll down to the bottom, that $209,000 is what the district would have to budget for to get all
Out of general fund.
all free meals. And so the next slide has, if we were to have a 6% increase, because people, when COVID hit, parents were like, eat school lunch, it's free. So even if we went and just said, hey, let's do a 6% increase, if you scroll to the bottom, it's still, run us pretty high to budget for that, which is doable. I mean, if we thought about it, planned about it, I mean, maybe there would be people who would want to donate to a food service fund. I mean, there are things that can happen to put money towards that. But overall, that's the end amount. If we go back to the one that says ADA ISP, so that average daily B part and that average daily L part, that is our participation as of right now. The B is for breakfast, the L is for lunch. That's what it looks like in the school. Out of all the students attending that day, that's how many participate in our breakfast and lunch programs.
Yeah, it's low.
55% is pretty low, isn't it?
Yeah. In the high school, it tends to be lower. Elementary, it tends to be higher. I think that's pretty common, but
Yeah.
But
that's part of
even
the, that's part of the
smaller
issue
than
with these numbers here is that is not as many kids are eating lunch, so.
Is it because of?
Quality.
That's what I was
I
saying.
think there's probably a lot of factors. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. Tasha and I kind of gone around and around about, I mean, I've tasked her with researching all of the things that we've talked about, going self-op, CEP, and we'll keep monitoring all of this, but food culture's changed, I think. I think what kids want to eat is different. I think more families send their kids to school with lunch. I think that food quality, I do think that's part of it, what kids want to eat.
And it is really hard. A lot of the kids are like, I wish they would just put salt on our fries or something. But it's even down to like having to serve low sodium salad dressings and low sodium ketchup. And so everything is so strictly regulated that making the food taste better it's just kind of hard, whether it's through OPA or.
And we have some favorite items, like
Oh, yes.
she shares with me what's our favorite items at the high school or at Overbrook or whatnot, and we try to
And we meet
cater
with
our
students.
menus to that.
We meet with students and, ask them their opinions. Now, granted, it's not like the whole student body will, like, sometimes I'll pick student council or I'll have the meal clerks pick students that they know participate in breakfast and lunch, and some that don't, so that way we can ask those, like, why aren't you eating? Like, what are the reasons for that, or what could we do? And I have to do that twice a year, so we just finished one, in Carbondale, and the kids decided that they would like to have the OPA pizzas and their choice of flavors, and so we had 3 groups pick 3 different flavors, and they're going to be able to help the kitchen prepare the meal, help the kitchen cut it, and then go out and serve samples to the student body and see what they like best. So there are things that we try to do to get input from the students on food, but I still think it just comes down to just healthier based products.
So I have a question. I know like our school is pretty low. Have you compared it? Like what do other schools in the nation look like? Are they, similar? Do you know?
I don't know like what it would look like, but I think I could probably look at participation.
I'm just curious as
Yeah.
far as government, if they see kids are not eating this food. I know they want healthier, but if no one's gonna eat it,
I know.
you know.
So her and I would like to go up to Prairie View. They recently just left OPA. That was the one school that left OPA last year. They do have some local partnerships that are very advantageous to their meals and what they're serving. So they've got a local beef producer that's USDA approved, which allows them to get ground beef and other beef products from them. They have a local baker that's working on them with their bread resources, which is probably awesome. I can only imagine. And then they have a garden greens concept for farm to table concept. So there's options. We don't have a lot of things that I can think of right here, but we need to get creative about what that could maybe look like. It does have to be USDA approved. So we probably have to go down the road a little bit, maybe to Topeka or Ottawa or somewhere to get our beef.
But we could purchase our beef locally, process it.
Anyway, with OPA too.
Right.
So there's probably some cost savings with OPA that we could do, and there's some grants out there that help us buy beef products. So even if we stayed with OPA, there might be some cost things and some food advantages we could get even if we stayed with OPA. So to lower cost, but also to get some better quality food. So we're researching. I just want you to know that we were continuing to think about this. She's been on top of it. I've asked her to do quite a few things with CEP and looking at those numbers for you. So we just wanted to give you an update and let you guys ask questions about some of these things, because I know CEP's come up quite a bit. Are we sticking with OPA after contract's over, and those types of things. So
So this 210,000 that you estimated, is that if 100% of the kids eat?
No,
That's
that's if
just-
our numbers stay exactly as they are
Okay.
on
Because
here.
I would think if we offered free food, more kids probably would eat it, just based on that it's free.
And
then
I
that would
can-
make it
what did
higher.
our numbers look like in COVID? when it
That's
was
what
free?
I can run the COVID numbers when we were back in the buildings. I can compare those and let you guys know.
It wasn't much
But I
higher.
mean,
We looked.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
It went from
It's
206 to
I can't
191.
remember either.
Yeah.
I know.
So the more that eat, the better.
Yeah, but
More
I
kids,
will
yeah.
look that up and let you know.
And there are kids that eat lunch every day. There are. And
Are there local schools that are also not happy with OPA?
the funny thing is there are some that are very happy. So we talked about this at our league meeting, and I talked to like Wellsville, for example. They're very pleased with, and so sometimes I'm wondering if it's the director they have or some of the personnel they have or some other things they're doing that we've definitely put a little pressure on them about, hey, we noticed this salad bar that they posted on Facebook that we saw that doesn't look like our salad bar. What's the difference here? So we've been asking some questions about some of those things. A lot of our products are frozen versus fresh, and so I've asked if there's changes we can do with some of those things. So the pressure's on a little bit. They know that we're having these conversations, and so I'm hoping that will push a little bit to make some changes.
More local, like Linden, Osage, Burlingame, places, because I know like an Airmark or Sodexo or somebody's probably not gonna come in for Santa Fe Trail, but if you had 6, 7 different districts or local that would be willing to go in, we could get maybe that purchasing power.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
And
other.
that
More
also is what it
cooperatively.
boils down to, is that purchasing power of having more people.
Yeah.
Because OPA, they push food costs, labor costs
Way
so
down.
much because they are making money
Yeah.
on keeping those costs low and being able to purchase foods in large quantities.
Much more affordably.
Well, they have a pretty high turnover rate too, don't they? We've seen a lot of,
Mhm.
let's say, I thought, have we went through several directors here?
Yes.
Every year.
And
I was
just
gonna say,
kitchen
really,
staff.
I've
Yeah.
been through five.
Thank you for looking at all that.
Yeah.
Now, we had talked briefly about, getting a crate or something delivered for the garden greens.
Mhm.
Where's
Yep.
that at?
Kyle's got the application, so it's that we have to know what our ag program or what our program is regarding this container that we're gonna get. So once we figure out kind of where we're going with ag, we will then submit an application because the application requires us to have, like, what are you gonna do with this container and these greens? So we have to have a plan on what we're gonna do with it. So we need to discuss, is that through our culinary program? Is that gonna be through an entrepreneur type class or the ag class? So once we get all that done, then the application will go in and they start looking for grants for us to then purchase the container.
Now, is that something that can be used though for our food services?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so we
all
can
the
sell
things
it.
that are farm to plate, Kyle and I had discussed this also. They can be used in the program, and OPA will, in exchange, take money off the price in a way.
Same with the beef, right?
Yeah. So whatever we can use in the kitchens, then we, and especially if it's
Cut our
farm to
inventory
plate.
down.
Yeah.
And it won't replace everything, but it would replace quite a bit of it. I mean, one of these containers, where they say 500 heads of lettuce a week we could possibly get out of it.
I think the biggest thing is the quality too.
Oh,
It
yeah.
sounds like it would be a lot
Yes.
better. We're not freezing the food. We can
Yeah.
get
And they
it
said you could
fresh.
grow root vegetables in there, you could grow tomatoes in there, you could grow, there were some other options too that we looked at that were pretty cool, so. So yes, there's lots of possibilities.
And I know that there's grants other places, but Child Nutrition puts out grants for the farm to plate a lot, but it's kind of the same thing. You have to have a set plan of who's going to carry this out, what classes and all this stuff. And so without personnel to carry out those types of gardens and things like that, it's kind of hard. But I know that we would benefit from it.
If you guys want, I can share these documents with you too, so you have them in front of you. So I talked to a couple of people.
And if you have any questions.
Thank you, Tasha.
Yeah,
That was
thank
great, that was a great update.
Thank you. All right, consent agenda. Anybody have any questions? Amy, Jamie, you people, any questions on that? Nothing?
Motion to approve the consent.
Okay, we got a motion?
I'll second.
Second, all in favor? All right. That brings us to personnel report. Anybody need any time? Executive session on that?
You guys want an executive session
You
for
guys want
personnel
any
report?
time, anything explained?
Yeah. I know a little bit.
You want a little bit? Okay.
10 minutes?
10 minutes?
10 minutes worth?
Yeah.
Sometime between 6:45.
Yep, 6:52. Mr. President, I move we go into executive session to discuss personnel pursuant to non-elected personnel except in our coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 6:33 with Faith Floyd present.
All right, we have a motion. Second, all in favor?
89. No, said you have to. Nope.
So it's not for the consent agenda.
What it is.
Okay, so where is she?
We're all looking at that.
I'm just a freak like that. I will let you investigate. Right. That's my life.
Come on, watch your name.
Okay, we have personnel report.
Alright.
You have
See ya.
that paper?
I don't. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the classified report as presented.
What, no, you wanna?
Yes, can we do a separate vote on the library clerk?
Yes, we can.
Okay.
Does everybody know which line item that is? Library clerk? Okay, so you have a motion for personnel minus that?
Yes, I'll make a motion for all the classified personnel report as presented, with the exception of the library clerk.
Okay, so we have a motion,
I'll second.
a second, all in favor?
Now I'd like to make a motion for the classified library position
Okay.
on the personnel report.
You have a motion,
Second.
second, all in favor? No, or abstain?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Make a,
Now, we have classified,
that was classified, you certified.
certified.
I'd like to make a motion for the certified as presented on the personnel report.
Okay, so we have a motion for certified,
I'll second it.
a second, all in favor? All right.
Then need a motion for the superintendent.
Superintendent,
Make a motion.
I'll second.
motion, second, all in favor? All right,
Thank you.
now we'll do that.
Yes, we'll keep you.
We should have left another paper out.
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I always told them, I'll be in trouble.
Okay, we have 9 minutes. So, let's stay on track here.
Rock and roll.
You guys are doing good.
Administrators, I know some of them are busy and gone, so does anybody have anything, any questions or?
Can we at least do our chargers of the month at least?
Do charges month?
Want me to start?
Sure.
Go ahead.
We are celebrating Jaden Hudson. Jaden is an 8th grader, and she is the charger of the month for students in grades 4 to 8. I saw her in the nurse's office today, and she's decorating the door. So I'm not disclosing anything personal, but she was decorating the door for the Christmas competition. And when I walked in, she and Nurse Dodie were talking about, it's really not difficult to be a good kid. And I thought, good for you, Jane. And she says, and I got $50. And then we are celebrating Tiffany Burgett as the secondary staff member of the year. Tiffany is our 7th grade math teacher, and truly is a phenomenal educator, outstanding at building relationships with kids, a very solid team player. She plays a role on district level work with us, so she's a wonderful, wonderful soul. So, thank you.
At the high school, now I will proceed by saying this was not staged. And one student, Gretchen Hazinga, was our charger of the month. Great representative in high school, a great kid, does a lot, engaged in tons of activities. I got to embarrass her in the middle of her weights class, so we told her we were gonna take a picture. She's over there wiping her sweat off.
Like, oh, great.
It was great, so she's a great representation for high school.
I'll do Overbrook since Lurley's out. They had 3 chargers of the month in Overbrook for November. Nora Dahl was our student, and everybody was talking about how Nora goes around the school and always chants, "I want to be a charger." So she is a true charger. Her and her family are everywhere in the community. She's involved, always at things. So she's just the epitome of Charger. And then I think she was one of the homecoming attendants this year, and I think was a little nervous, but did that with some confidence after a while and really took the role on and had a fun time doing that. Ashley Fall is known for always being a thinker and an innovator for new opportunities for kids, and she's really put together that program that she brought forward for Overbrook as a STEM option for kids, as like an elective or a specials opportunity for kids to do project-based learning, and she really has taken ownership in that and collaborates with all the grade levels on what they're doing in class, so then she can do an extension of that learning and the skills in the STEM program. So she's really taken charge with that, and she's a good collaborative educator with her peers. And then Megan Reynolds, who kind of runs the show over there. She is loved by all. This is her second Charger of the Month that she has got. She got actually November last year. I didn't even know, but in November, I said, November is your month, girl. So she just keeps operations up and running. She is Laura Lee's partner, and they just do a great job teaming on everything operations, from the parent needs, student needs, teacher needs. She is on top of everything. She makes that place a well-oiled machine and a great place for staff and students and families to be. So those are our 3 for Overbrook. Yeah. It's a fun part of my month.
You have SAC?
No, there was none for most, because it's PK through
Okay.
3rd grade, so it gets.
Okay, do you have any other questions for them? No? All right, thank you. Okay, that brings us to Robbie.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing?
He's a little under the weather.
Bear with me, my throat's a lot really raw, and my voice is even lower than normal. But back in October, I came to you guys looking for a small vehicle, and you guys want me to look into a little more information. So with the information I sought after, and I worked with Kyle and Chris over at the high school, we're looking to buy a Ford Expedition as well as a smaller vehicle, either like a Ford Escape or a Kia K4, something along those lines. Some newer information, like our special needs. Our APs are changing every day. We don't know what's happening with the transportation side on that sometimes, so each day something different could happen. So getting some more vehicles will help ensure that we have those flexibilities to meet the students' needs, including those that are out of our district. My first year, we had a student we had to take over to Payables. We were actually renting Emporia's van to get him all the way over to Emporia. The current vehicle limitations we talked about before, we only have the 3 vans currently, which they were all being used for routes earlier in the year, which forced us to use the bigger buses for the smaller groups. It'll help reduce the wear and tear on the vehicles that we currently have. All the vans that we have are all under 4 or 5 years, and 2 of them are already over 80,000, and that brand new one we got a couple years ago is already at 55,000 miles on it. We're occasionally having to rent vehicles to meet transportation needs. Most recently was FBLA going to Oklahoma City. We ended up having to rent one van or a car to help transport one student, so they could take 2 of the district vans down there. And then earlier in the year for wrestling, we ended up renting 3 vans. Granted, that one could change year to year just because it depends on how many qualify for state. But for those long trips, it'll help save some of the costs for the drivers, how much we're paying them for their hourly wage going there, then we're paying for the meals, and we're also having the lodging the hotels that we're paying for those drivers to take them there as well. I looked into your 14 passenger buses. Those are 110,000. So that's kind of why we went with the smaller vehicles this time. I think that's about all the information I have. Do you guys have any questions?
Have you found a Ford Expedition for 55,000 and a car, or is that just what you're
So
seeing out there?
the budget, the Ford Expedition's actually a state contract vehicle and they're contracted right under the 55,000. And then the Ford Expedition, or the Ford Escape is also a state contract, so it's under the 30,000. The Kia K4 isn't, it was just more of a sedan rather than an SUV. They got a little bit better gas mileage compared to the Escape, but everything I was looking at MSRP wise was under that 30,000.
Is this for like a used vehicle?
No, these would all be brand new
So these are
vehicles.
brand new, oh, good.
And then,
He didn't ask that for 55.
is this kind of like our buses?
Expedition.
I thought that was a pretty
You
good
order
thing.
now and get it sometime in the next year, or are they available? How's that working?
That one I will have to get back to you on. The contract's through Shawnee Mission. Everyone I've talked to, normally they have some of this stuff already on hand for us to just get it. So we don't run into the same issue we did with those 10 passenger vans. I think a big issue with those 10 passenger vans is when you guys ordered them first time, they got discontinued. So everyone rushed to them all at once. This will be more of a normal vehicle for them to just have on hand.
Is the Expedition 8 passenger?
Yeah.
Eight.
Yeah,
So
which
that
is
might
good.
be a lot better option than the vans anyway.
Yeah, it's a
What do
good
you-
size.
What's your guess, what's your projection of how many days a week are you gonna use the Expedition and the car, either or? I mean, are they
So
both
it'll just
daily
depend.
gonna be needed?
I don't think it'll be daily, but it's more of like having the option if we have 3 students going somewhere, then we can send them in the car as opposed to a bigger vehicle.
Some ways it could be daily, sometimes it's
Yeah.
nothing.
But like right now, we have, Miss Chiddix, she had got a program for a student in Topeka to work on site somewhere, which we're able to include him, just dropping him off with the VOTEC students, but he gets out at a different time than VOTEC. So she's actually going up there in a personal vehicle to get him right now. So right now, the car would be daily, but that could change next semester with VOTEC.
Are we still driving to Kansas City
Yeah,
for the, okay. How
That-
often,
so
is that
luckily-
every day?
so luckily that one's reduced now to Mondays and Fridays.
Okay,
He stays up there now for us through the week, so we just pick him up again on Friday.
But a car
Twice a
would work
week.
for that.
Or twice
But
a
the car would work with it. And I was using the truck last year for everything, and then Rhonda reported to me that we got in trouble with the state for using the truck. So we can't be, so according to them, the reason the trucks aren't able to be used anymore is the same reason 12 and 15 passenger vans aren't able to be used. During their safety study, more wrecks were being caused in the trucks and those bigger vans. So Department of Ed stopped allowing districts to use those.
Do the vans hold 10 passengers then?
It's 9 passengers and 1 driver.
9, okay. And then, so that.
So this would actually be 7 passengers and 1 driver.
Okay, so it'd be total users.
Do you have any thoughts, concerns?
And we have that encumbrance for some of this,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. which is
And
good.
we did just get the money for the radios we sold as well.
Oh, yeah, and we
And what
got
kind of a
the
need you see, Kyle? I mean, is this something you're gonna jump in sometime and say, hey, we're needing it?
Yeah, there are times, I mean, just for instance, FBLA is going to be taking a trip up to Topeka with 3 kids.
Tomorrow,
Tomorrow,
yeah.
and having a smaller vehicle would be,
They could take the car probably.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we had Mary Bugger take a van with her and a kid,
Yeah, let's
Took
take
a whole van
another
for
one.
2 of them to go.
yeah.
So there's just all sorts of needs. It's often,
But if we continue to look at providing students with career opportunities and internship type experiences, we're gonna have more transportation requirements for a smaller amount of
Say
kids.
Can we just
Bye, Michelle.
take
Bye,
these
Michelle.
together?
Yeah,
bye, guys.
Fine.
6:47 for the minutes.
I'll tell Jonah hi for you.
Thank you.
Justin,
Yeah, get some
you're
video for me.
welcome.
Thank you.
you're in trouble.
I told him. He knew we.
I'm good with, I mean, these prices are amazing for brand new.
Yeah, brand new makes a big difference. to me
Yeah,
for
for
the
sure.
expedition.
I guess I can see, it. I mean, I guess my question too, Kyle, is like, if that's something where you had to run the regional cross-country somewhere on a Saturday and back, would you rather take the car if it was available than your own vehicle and get
Absolutely,
mileage?
yeah.
So, I mean, we would have use for it.
Keep an eye on it. I mean, if if we find the expeditions are better than the vans, I mean, it might be, I don't know how many times we're hauling 9 kids and not 7 kids.
Right.
Right.
And I would assume there's as much or more room maybe to haul.
I also think when we need to fix things, it's gonna be easier to fix a Ford Expedition than it is one of these vans,
Or
probably. Parts, finding things quicker, easier, I just think it'll be more standardized.
And that's purchase owned, like we own it, right? There's not.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
For both vehicles?
Yeah, for both.
Okay, so we have a motion. And did you specify out of the Ford Escape or the Kia?
Well, I thought it's the Ford Escape
Is the 30,000.
is,
For the state
I'm
contract.
sorry, the Ford Expedition is the $55,000
Yes.
budget. Ford Escape or Kia,
Is under the 30.
I guess I don't really have a preference unless.
I said we find a deal and.
I'll probably
do-
want-
Which one
Now,
is
they
it?
hold the
Ford-
same between the Ford Escape and the Kia.
Yeah, the Ford Escape, it would just be a little faster because we don't have to do the RFP on them, because it's under a state
The other one's
contract.
under
The
state.
state
I'd
contract.
say
Do the state
just-
contract.
just-
Good with that
And the
they're
Kia is
both
not on the state contract then.
Yes.
Okay, then we'll stick with the state contract, so the Ford Expedition and the Ford Escape.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Hope you're a Ford guy.
I was gonna
Thank
say
you,
that's
Rob.
right.
It'll match the truck that we own.
I hope Ford.
Thanks, Robbie.
Oh, and now that we've already done that, is that a 4-wheel drive Expedition? Or
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. I should have asked that question beforehand, yeah.
Yeah,
Amy, can you say I asked beforehand, please?
Okay, items for
We're
discussion.
getting up to snow roads, let me say that.
What's that?
We're gonna get those snow roads.
That's right. Well, that's, I mean, it's a big deal if you try to drive
That's a
the.
2-wheel drive Escape and
You
it's
know,
hard
the
to get down
Expedition's
that
probably
road.
gonna be better on, if he goes on gravel on tires than the vans.
That's what I'm saying. I don't even buy vans anymore.
Yeah.
Buy Expedition.
Well, depending on the tires.
Well, that's it.
Okay, non-resident enrollment opens, you just informing us what's
Yep,
going
just
on
giving you
there?
an update that opens January 1st and families can start putting in applications. Just as we did last year, except for this year, it opens January 1st. Obviously, last year it was in the summer, so they'll have a lot more time to enroll and then be considered for the 25-26 school year. We will then do a lottery if our seats are over capacity, but we get to redo our capacity. So we don't have to bring capacity numbers to you until May, which gives us some time to see how many people may apply at that time and give us better options for those capacities. We will probably change our capacity numbers based on where we're at right now. So just looking at our numbers, because we were down quite a bit, but we'll probably take as what we can. But right now, I just wanted to let you know that at this time, here's kind of the timeline. January is just that we will open it up. And it's a link right on our homepage. And it actually says open enrollment. So they'll click on that and then that takes them to a differentiated way to enroll.
Is there a way to push that to people who are already?
Yeah. Yep, I
We
can
could
actually,
just target that group.
yep,
and
I
just-
can push it out. Yeah, communicate.
Awesome.
Good, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
All right. Anybody have any other questions on that? No? Okay. All right, Mr. Lomar, you got some good news for us on this grant from KSU? You
Yes,
have anything you want to say?
so this was the easiest grant I've ever done in my life. I have to say, Faith and I did together, but
You take
but
credit.
literally they sent an email asking anybody who wanted or needed some tablets and or Chromebooks, and so we jumped on it, and it was almost like, okay, where's your address type thing. I mean, there was not a whole lot involved, but yeah, we're getting quite a few. I remember, 100 Chromebooks and 58 tablets, and they're going to get it to us fairly soon. So.
And it was a rural educator, rural school initiative, so I think they probably sent it to rural schools in the area. So that was probably why we were notified so quickly.
But yeah, and it's just throw it out there too. These Chromebooks they're still student level Chromebooks, but they're a step up from what, so they're not like some cheapo generic devices they're gonna just throw at us. They're giving us some pretty good stuff.
Good.
So,
We need a motion to accept the grant. Make a motion to accept the 58 tablets and 100 Chromebooks.
All right.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you for doing that too.
Yes,
That's-
awesome.
That's great. Okay. Where are we at now? Okay, we have 10.1, student matter, final action on student long-term suspension.
I don't need to go.
I can do 2 minutes and we need to have not.
Yeah, not. Mr. President, I move we go into executive session to discuss a student suspension pursuant to exceptions relating to actions adversely or favorably affecting a student under coma. And the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:04 with Faith Lori absent.
All right, got a motion?
Is,
That's it?
it's not gonna be in?
No, but if you have questions, I could invite him later.
Okay.
So, is that correct?
Yes, if there's.
Right, yeah. So we have a motion?
She seconded, sorry, I was just
Yeah,
raising
I
my hand
second.
early.
And a second? All right, all in favor? All right.
Like when you go to a restaurant, the menu looks real good, but your plate doesn't look like that.
Yeah, that's not I know, her, she does, like,
I'm gonna double check.
But I want the garbage.
You were schooling to do something for a second or no?
Amy, did you have any agreement from us?
Yeah, I gave you the paperwork, the last time you read the last paragraph. The paper, right there.
Last paragraph only?
Appellate.
All right, yep, that was just, yeah, that was one that I was reading. And it's the motion?
Yes.
All right, I make a motion that therefore it be resolved that the findings and conclusion of the appellate hearing officer be adopted by the board and that the extended term suspension of the student in this matter be affirmed.
Okay, we
Second.
have a motion and a second. All in favor? Okay, everybody needs to sign this too before you leave this evening. All right. All right, that brings us to 3 Lakes.
No, I got one more.
Oh, you have one more?
Yep, 2.2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
I need 5 minutes.
Mr. President.
5?
5.
Okay.
Mr. President, I move we go into executive session to discuss student matters pursuant to exceptions relating to actions adversely or favorably affecting a student under coma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 7:11 with Faith Floyd present.
Motion,
Second.
second, all in favor?
10 minutes.
Okay. All right, now we can go to 3 Lakes. So, not a lot happened. They did get their new bus in. What else do we have going on here, other than the bus? They are fully staffed right now. They just hired some new pairs and they are fully staffed. This might come to a surprise, but they're talking about a possible 5th assessment.
What?
So obviously I'm asking some questions on that, but, it's not, nothing's finalized yet on that,
Yeah.
so. And that's about all that's going on down there right now.
Doing a
Pretty-
job, Tam.
What's that?
You're doing a great
It
job
was
down
pretty,
there.
it was pretty quick to you, but,
He's asking lots of questions, lots of good questions.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a lot to learn, but that's kind of all I have for report for now. Anybody else have any questions? Sir? All right, we're adjourned, thank you.
Thank you.